Yeah, it was him, and his tiny was the one that I remember the most. Phoenix.
The Phoenix into the Mirana.
Yeah, and a snap. Oh my god, this egg is never going to go off.
But I think this is like double super heals coming from Among Us already, which is kind of a neat little strat here at the start. I like that. I mean, you're not going to get the egg off, but
You get some tanky frontline core, get some Spectre, and that Spectre's not dying with this Phoenix Undying sing behind them.
I like it. And in a way now, you're kind of committing hard with these like heroes that deal with the egg. These heroes on their own, I'm not super scared of them. It almost, like, so now it's like either a 5-position Snapfire, or you end up going like a Mirana core probably. I'll ban out that Spectre.
Yep.
No, even as a support duo, I'm pretty comfortable with 5 snap 4 Mirana. I think at the end of the day, they just have stuns, so that's not really the worst case scenario. If your support duo has stuns, they can both rotate if need be. Both take care of the Tombstone and the Supernova, so you don't really need to worry about your cores having attack speed now.
I imagine that it seemed like they wanted to pick the Snapfire regardless of the Phoenix, personally.
Dire team back.
I mean, obviously, you see the Phoenix and you're like, okay, Snapfire definitely even better, but I think, we're seeing first 2 Snapfire almost every game in this region.
Yeah, that's true. There's going to need to pick up some other form of, like, initiation as well on top of these, because these aren't initiators.
Remaining.
Yeah, get one of those, the Spirit type heroes from mid, or get some offlaner to, the stunning combo with the Mirana, the setup, the Slaughter type hero, which has been very popular.
Team back.
It would make a lot of sense here. But I think plenty of options for Motivate.Trust.
Dire team back.
Okay, Mark Gordon banned out 2. That's an interesting one.
Terrorblade, maybe, for Among Us?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, they ban out the Lifestealer and the Jug, though. To me, I get that reads like Bat Rider,
10
right?
seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Could be.
5 seconds remaining.
The heroes that just lane really well against Phoenix too. You can always purge off Fire Spirits. You've got built-in magic immunity to help you hit the egg. And the thing is, like, I get the whole, hey, you don't want to Phoenix egg into Mirana Snapfire. Not good because these heroes both have skills that allow you to kill an egg quickly. But at the end of the day, they're supports, and they're supports that want to be sitting pretty far back. Snapfire's, looking to just be chilling in the back lines, throwing Mortimer's Kisses. Mirana's just trying to line up some arrows. So they're not actually amazing heroes to hit the egg, despite having skills that allow you to hit the egg very quickly.
Right.
Just because of positioning. Ultimately, if Mirana's hitting an egg, chances are she's out of position and going to get blown up.
And now you kind of have like almost an initiator out of the safe lane too here with the Ricky.
Remaining.
Once you get Diffusal Blade.
Yeah, we've only seen Ricky bans. I think this is our first Ricky pick we've had here. Often it's when like Grimstroke's being picked up that the Ricky's being banned out, but this is just gonna be a Ricky with Snapfire, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, they could last pick a support and turn Snapfire into a mid, but I'm leaning towards last pick for both teams being the mid laners.
What a weird draft. You've got 1 stun between the 4 heroes on Among Us.
Yeah.
But it looks like they just kind of want to play fast and
10 seconds
keep
remaining.
pressure on.
Yep. I mean, Drowse looked really good
5
this
seconds
tournament
remaining.
across multiple different
Dire
regions.
team
Right.
back.
We've seen, Viking and some of the European CIS teams do well with it. We've seen it in NA. Here in SEA, it's been good.
They must be very confident with the Drow versus Ricky matchup, though, because
I
you
was
saw
like,
that coming and you were like, yeah, Drow, that's the hero.
Radiant team back.
Huh. Death Prophet's a good ban. I want something to like sort of stand there because like they kind of have frontline, but not really.
Yeah.
And it feels like they need somebody to get like the Ricky off of the Drow. I don't know. I'd be a little bit concerned at this point.
10 seconds
I almost feel
remaining.
like Motivate.Trust were anticipating a Drow. Because these couple of
5
picks, right?
seconds
Ricky to get
remaining.
on top of her, and then Underlord to like have really good wave clear. And to be able to just sort of stand in front of towers, hopefully.
Dire team
Granted,
back.
that matchup is a little bit dangerous in
Radiant
lane.
team pick.
Could see like a Storm Spirit being good for Abed here.
Dire team
What's he
pick.
thinking?
Another spirit.
Spirit, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely something you mentioned, Lyrical, was just like, hey, they only have the 1 stun. So I think it was kind of, they had to pick a playmaking catch hero for Abed in the mid lane, which is what Void Spirit can kind of give him some additional control.
10 seconds.
You're
remaining.
assuming they don't get controlled. There's so much to be concerned about. You're gonna
5
get
seconds
Rod
remaining.
Pit on the Underlord, Silence, Diffusal, maybe even eventually a Nullifier on the Ricky so you can't even force Seth out of it, Cookie, and Arrow.
Sounds tricky.
Sounds very tricky.
Yeah.
Sounds tricky. Tough game for Abed is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And in your dream.
I think I really like Motivate.Trust's lineup. I think this Ricky pick is actually pretty cool. If they were anticipating that drow.
Yeah. I want to see what they get for the mid lane here. They don't really have any good objective takers. When you have Ricky's safe lane, it feels like you need so many different things out of your mid laner and off laner. Because Ricky doesn't give you much team fight, doesn't push towers, doesn't farm that fast. He is like the best hero killing carry, I feel like, in many ways, but we'll see what Motivate.Trust go for. Oh, they're going to Ricky mid, maybe?
Whoa.
I mean, they could PL mid as well, but
I
the
think
Ricky mid against Void Spirit sounds like a decent matchup. Or are they doing... No, they're doing Underlord mid.
Oh.
Ricky off lane. I mean, we've seen the Underlord mid absolutely destroy matchups just by having a huge last hit advantage.
Yeah.
This is kind of cool.
I like it.
And PL against Phoenix Undying Drow. Against Slardar, you can very easily purge off the Corrosive Haze.
Yeah.
This is a great PL game.
Alright, well, let's see if they can make the lanes work out then. Very interesting draft, and what a way to start off the day. We're going to jump to a quick break, but when we return, you'll be joined by the casters MLP and johnxfire here for the first game at the Monster Energy Dota Summit 13.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We are here for the first series of the day for the Monster Energy Summit 13. It is, of course, MLP, Dota, and johnxfire. John, we're here for the upper bracket finals, sir, between Among Us and Motivate.Trust Gaming. It's sure to be a pretty explosive series between these two, but I've got to ask you first, how are you feeling tonight, sir?
I'm feeling great about this one, Mike. Among Us and MG.Trust, these two teams have a bit of history, right? Like, the first iteration of Among Us, when we saw them in BTS Pro Series Season 3, up against MG.Trust, it was always a bit more dominant. Among Us looked like they had their number. They might have drawn a couple of series, but when it came to playoffs, MG.Trust stepped up to the plate. And this time around, MG.Trust has just been up there from group stage. So they've been on top. They've been dominant. They've been playing well. But you can't really discount Among Us. They pulled some funky stuff out. Now, the draft of MG.Trust is the one that's a bit more experimental. We're seeing Masaros on another safe laner on the off lane. We've seen him do this with a Life Stealer. This time around, it's the Ricky, and I'm excited to see this one unfold. Masaros Ricky. I think that's just... It's always just so special when you see him play something beyond the Tidehunter here, Mike.
Well, I think one thing we've learned over the Summit 13 and BTS Pro Series 3, John, is Masaros, while he does enjoy spamming heroes like Tidehunter, he is a very versatile kind of offlaner. And we haven't seen the offlane Ricky yet. We haven't had the pleasure. I'm looking very forward to seeing what he can do with this. And of course, how could we forget Jackie on the PL? Very, very dangerous when he's playing this hero. Then again, though, I look at the other side, you've got Arbit on that Void Spirit. Can't underestimate him on this hero. He does tend to make a lot of plays. Like I said, John, a very explosive match. This series might just go to 3 games as well. There is a lot on the line here, and well, we should start having a look at the laning stage and see what's going on. Of course, top lane, you'll see Jackie there with Boombell. They're going to be there with Zephyr, March, and In Your Dream. A tri-lane versus tri-lane situation. That's how I love to get us started, John. Tri-lane versus tri-lane, it's sure to be explosive.
Yeah, and we've seen Among Us do this a couple of times. They toss RYD in that offlane. They play aggressive. The Undying loves it when you pile these heroes on. March is dropping low, though. He's got to be a bit cautious, but they're trading hits really well.
Dropping lower. Boombell, he's going to go down. First blood goes to In Your Dream. March, he was able to get that last decay off, and in your dream was able to get one more auto attack off. It's a great start for them. And when you look at these tri-lanes, John, you'd have to agree, surely, that it is in the favor of Among Us, considering they do have an Undying.
Oh yeah, there's no two ways about it. This is the ideal lane for the Undying. You just love it when the heroes clump up. I'm very surprised MG.Trust is opting to counteract with their own tri-lane. I believe the game plan here is to just try to slow IYD down, prevent the tri-lane from getting too much. But I think this just plays into that game plan. March has so much presence. He's got 3 mangoes. He can stand in front. He has 20 decay stacks. He doesn't care about this right click from Q. And that's just the story of the Undying. He's going to contest every single time, make it hellish for Jackie. Look at Jackie, 16 decay stacks on him, 320 HP. Like, if he gets snooped down, he's not in a good spot.
It's a disgusting position here for Jackie. Of course, we'll have a quick look at the other lanes for a second. Mid lane, Arbed and Fearless are going to be there. The Undying versus the Void Spirit. Pretty passive stuff on bot lane. With Masaros, he's dropping very low. Cuckoo does pop a salve early on, so Masaros does jump in and just cancel it off quickly. But it does seem as though Masaros is struggling a little bit here up against Cuckoo. In fact, Cuckoo might have him. No, not quite enough. Masaros is going to survive on 80 HP. But Cuckoo is in firm control of this lane, and as we talk about that, top lane March will drop on the Undying. Boombill able to take that kill on the Snapfire.
Yeah, it's about the point where we see Undyings can throw their bodies forward to get a bit of a reset. So March is going to come in. He still holds on to 2 mangoes. He is ready to kind of make his presence known elsewhere. He's going for a quick bottle delivery towards Abed first. So just playing into that mid lane matchup as well, which we haven't really talked about. Underlord up against Void Spirit. One of the more boring lanes, but a lane that is working out a lot more for Fearless. Just so steady. You get the Firestorm out. Resonant Pulse doesn't block that damage. Sure, Abed can kind of nuke you down as well with his own spell damage, but when it comes down to it, Fearless should be a little bit more efficient in that farm, so it's going to be a good lane for him to hold steady.
Bot lane, Cuckoo, he's dropping very low. Masaros going to go for the Blink Strike, but Cuckoo will pop the sprint. He will walk away. Masaros not going to chase him down too much farther.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Mid lane rather, Fearless, he's dropping extremely low now. Aether Remnant not going to latch on, and Fearless will walk around it. A very close matchup now on that mid lane, as Fearless is going to try and give it back with the Firestorm. And both heroes in that mid are going to be very low. The 4-minute power runes, however, are going to spawn up in 10 seconds. And both these heroes need a full bottle, so we're going to rely on a bit of RNG here for Fearless. Or rather, Among Us have got the top runes secured, and Arbed, he is going to be able to get the bottom. In fact, a nice Aether Remnant going to hold Fearless down. They will not have enough damage with the Soul Rip from March. So everyone going to survive so far. Just a 1-to-1 4 minutes in. But Arbed with that DD, he's going to be sitting very pretty.
Yeah, it's a really good spot for him. He can try to apply some pressure. You already have March circling around here.
They are. Fearless. Oh, he's going to drop. Big kill there, Arbed. Of course, you had to worry about that if you were Fearless, right? Like, he had a DD rune. You know he would have gone at any moment. And with March around, it becomes that much easier.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult as well. They didn't have a ward watching that power rune, so he wasn't quite sure what he was going in for. It was pretty greedy though, but he's going to pull back in. Really good movement from Abed. They are going to scuffle over these power runes on those tri-lanes.
Well, the bounty rune's going to be in a spot of trouble here. Boombill, he does go down after taking one, but In Your Dream now getting low. Jackie going to try and chase him down, but March keeps In Your Dream alive, and Q will be the secondary to drop. In fact, Jackie, he has no mana left. He just barely has enough now for Doppel, but the Gust comes just in the nick of time. Jackie, he will barely survive. The Decay will not land either. Jackie will make himself out. And I can't believe he barely had the mana. He just regened it up.
It's on the edge. He's very lucky Boombill was already ferrying out some regen, so he gets a top up himself.
Mid lane, massive trouble here. Q doesn't have another arrow to throw out though. Arbed's going to be fine, and March again with a nice rotation in, just soul ripping his cores, making sure they're healthy. Well, power runes are going to spawn up, but Arbed, he is healthy enough now to contest the bottom one, and it is going to be a regen rune. Are you kidding me?
You know how it is. When you're ahead, you just keep being ahead. Abed
Yeah.
just having a great time now. He is still lagging behind in last hits, but that's to be expected. It is an Underlord. Just getting these rune control up for your Void Spirit does enable maybe some movement out for Abed once he hits that level 7 mark. Could look to go hunting. So far, this early start for Among Us really lining up well. Their tri-lane investments paying off. Jackie is still finding farm despite it, but it is a lot more contested, and Jackie's going to have to look for that space later on, but they are dragging Fearless top.
They are Fearless. He TP's in, but the Gust is immediately out by In Your Dream. And now Boombell could go for a cookie setup and does. But he's by himself. Boombell, he needs to back. He's going to go down In Your Dream. Gets a free kill for himself. Jackie will chase down Zephyr and does kill off the Phoenix, so they do at least trade evenly. But a very kind of weird initiation there from Boombell. Perhaps a bit of miscommunication, but he went in by himself and it does cost him his life.
Yeah, it was fairly odd of Boombell giving his life out way. Not the best trade, but Fearless getting the kill is a nice bounce back for him. You are starting to see the side lanes kind of free up. Masteros is working his way mid. They are smoked up, maybe looking for a movement out here up top.
Yeah, they're going to ignore Arbed in that mid lane. They'll go up towards that top lane. Masteros and Boombell, they've pinged out In Your Dream, and In Your Dream, he's up there by himself right now on the Drow. That is not great positioning from this Drow Ranger at the moment. The Cookie, oh, nice gust out, but it will not be enough. They still got the stun, but March comes in with the Soul Rip. In Your Dream still alive, barely, still surviving, does finally drop, but Jackie will also go down off the back of the rotation of Arbed onto Masteros now. The Resonant Pulse will be enough. Arbed, he'll get a double into Boombell. They don't have enough lockdown for him, I don't believe, but Arbed, he might just keep going. He hasn't ate the Remnant in 1 second, but a great cookie out Boombell, saving his own life. But Arbed, he's not done yet with this man. Goes back in, gets a triple kill on the Void Spirit, and is now going to back off.
Ooh, this is just a fantastic start for Among Us. Arbed off to a runaway start with that triple kill. They're starting to set up for a bit of a shove up top. And MG.Trust are just constantly forced to respond. Again, they keep having to run a tri-lane up against an Undying.
Oh, In Your Dream is going to be chased down, but again, March is there with the Soul Rip. Heals him up to max. Fearless does rotate with the Pit of Malice and the Firestorm. It is going to be enough. So once again, In Your Dream is going to drop. March, he's having a look around for some Surfer Wards on this high ground. Both sentries are going to get de-warded. And MG.Trust look like they're kind of ready to try and force in that tier 1 top tower, but no, MG.Trust, they're going to back off and steal some stacks that were being made for our Drow. In Your Dream will not get those stacks, and will someone pick up the neutral item. They do finally get it, but Arbed's in. He wants to go for a fight. Resonant Pulse is going to be there onto Masteros, but he's going to blink away. Still Arbed getting the courier now of Masteros, but he did get his items off at first. It was the components for the treads. He does manage to take him.
It's a lot of movement out from MG.Trust. They have left this bot lane alone. So Cuckoo this entire time is just pretty much free farming on that Slardar. Now, it's not been amazing. It's still a Slardar. But uncontested farm means Cuckoo's going to find himself with a very fast blink timing, and that's going to enable even more movement out from Among Us if MG.Trust is not careful. And they've already been quite good with Abed.
He's getting greedy here. Johnny's going for that 10-minute bounty room, but I don't think this is the time, Cuckoo. He will get stunned up into a nice arrow out from Q, and Fearless should have enough control to get rid of this Slardar. Although, no, the wand charges do come out. Cuckoo is going to run. He's on the river. He'll get the other bounty rune as well, and he is just going to get away. He salves up. Q's still on the chase. Does he have another arrow? He does, and he will land it. But Cuckoo, he will not be able to survive the second one. He does go back down, but up at top lane, Masteros was in trouble. Not so much anymore. He's going to go back onto Arbed. That is very dangerous for Masteros. But Arbed, he had no more skills left to throw out. He does now, however. Masteros needs to be careful. He can't protect that T1.
Under attack.
Zephyr does have a sentry on him if he does drop it, but looks like Masteros, he does get to the high ground and should be okay. Bot lane, however. They're TPing in. They want to keep fighting here. Among Us, they're not done yet. Fearless is in vision underneath that tier 1 tower. He drops the Pit of Malice, but he is surrounded by 4 heroes. They take down the mid Underlord once again.
It's a big target to take out, and they defend their tier 1. So you're not seeing a tower trade coming out for MG.Trust.
Oh, in
that
your
does
dream?
open. Oh,
Yeah, top lane, Masaros surviving on 25 HP, but the mid lane now. A rotation now, Jackie does get the tier 1 mid tower. And that is one big win there for Motivate.Trust, John. They get the Drow kill, plus the tier 1 mid thanks to Jackie. And Jackie is still top of the net worth board.
yeah, it's still pretty darn good for MG.Trust despite falling behind those kills. Just opening that mid tower does open up the jungle a bit more if Jackie wanted to play there. They do have much more defensive wards this time around from MG.Trust, so it looks like Jackie might focus on his own jungle first while he has that space out. And we know the pacing MG.Trust likes to pull out. They love to buy space out for Jackie, wait for his items to come up. I think in this game, though, you are looking to give a little bit of that space to Masaros as well. So MG.Trust, they've only got 3 heroes to play with. Fearless is going to have to keep that pace up in this bot lane, and they've still got their eyes set for this bot tier 1.
They certainly do. MG.Trust, they're going to posture around. Among Us, they may be willing to go for another big team fight down to that bot lane. The Arbet and March, they're setting up for that mid tier 1 tower instead. Jackie is going to be around to defend. And I don't believe they'll be able to contest Jackie in this mid lane. They don't really have the control for him quite yet. So bot lane. Pit of Malice is dropped into a nice arrow from Q, and now the Mortimer's Kisses. They have the egg. They will pop it. It may just be wasted. Can they take it down in time? Yeah, they can. Boom Bill. He had the little shredder out just in the nick of time and does burst it down. Still Cuckoo now, gonna rotate on the Slaughter, but the Pit of Malice is gonna be there to hold him down with an arrow out from Q, and they will also drop the Tombstone, but it looks like it is wasted by Arbed. He does come in just in the nick of time with a great 8th the Remnant out. And he does manage to at least get Boom Bell. That's gonna make it a 10-7 now for Among Us. A slight net worth lead, but Moonlight Shadow is gonna be popped. Are they really going to reinitiate here, Motivate? Cuckoo. Bit of Malice. Arrow is going to be there with a Rod of Atos out in the Firestorm, dealing so much damage to Cuckoo. He's going to try and sprint away, and it looks like he is going to make it out just fine. The Firestorm damage just not really proving to be enough quite yet.
It's a bit unfortunate, but it will ensure MG.Trust finds this bot tier 1, which opens up a little bit more map control along with that mid they've found. Among Us starting to lag behind just a bit in terms of map control. They still have bot out space for IYD, which is really all that they'd want right now. You're also seeing the blink timing for Cuckoo kind of still line up at a very good point. He has started to lag behind in farm, though, on this Slardar. So he's behind the Underlord now. He's behind pretty much every single core. Even Masaros is having a better time. You might want to rectify that. Once you have this blink, you need to play a bit more active with Abed.
Speaking of, Masaros is going to scout him out, taking some farm away from their jungle. Masaros very close to that Diffusal Blade now. And this is a very scary timing for MG.Trust, John. The Diffusal of Jackie and Masaros is going to cause a lot of problems here for Among Us. They have not really been able to slow it down at all. They are going to have them both at a very nice timing. In fact, I'd say about 1 to 2 minutes away from both of them having it. And after that, I'm really not sure what Among Us do. You don't have BKBs up yet on anyone, nor do you have 4-staffs.
Yeah, it's a long time still till we'll see it. And I'm surprised IYD is just rushing the Yasha. After this Dragonlance, I'd figure the 4-staff would be a key pickup just to get yourself out of dodge. If you are jumped by this Ricky, or if you do get caught out by that Pit of Malice from our Underlord, they do have at least a 4-staff out in Zephyr. So they do have at least one tool, and that blink on our Slaughter is up. So you might see Among Us start to play around that timing with the Crush initiation. But the Diffusals he talked about, it's already up for Jackie.
It is, and you've also got the Yule Scepter now on Q. And Masaros, I mean, he's about, what, 500 gold away from finishing off his Diffusal. And look at bot lane. Zephyr, he's being watched right now. Q would love a Yule's on that Phoenix, but he can't quite get in range for it. towards the north. Cuckoo is wrapping around on the Slaughter.
Dire's top
Moonlight
tower
Shadow,
is
however,
under
going to be
attack.
popped. No sentries down here for Among Us. They don't know where they are.
Radiant's bottom tower
But Motivate.Trust, they are not going to go too far forward. And now a counter smoke out. Among Us, where are they going? Into the mid lane, they see Jackie. But how do you catch him? Well, there's your stun out. Jackie's in trouble. They're trying to burst him down, but the Doppel is going to be there. But the March Soul Rip is going to be enough to kill him off. And, well, March, with all those illusions around, can do a lot of damage. But now Fearless does jump in. Boom Bell going straight for that egg, does get it as well. But Cuckoo is in with the stun. Arrow is there, but it's not going to be enough. March is keeping everyone healthy. Into Masaros, who does jump in with his team. They'll go after Cuckoo, but Cuckoo's still just man-fighting here. Up against Fearless. March again with the Soul Rip. Does get another. It's going to be Fearless going down. Onto Cuckoo, another arrow, but Abed not going to allow this to just happen, or will he? He tries and gets Masaros, he does get the kill. And Cuckoo dies, but he won't mind. They got all 3 cores on Motivate.Trust for the sake of a Slaughter death.
That was just really greedy coming out from MG.Trust. Jackie's positioning way out front without the vision down, without his team scouting out first. Really conservative use of that Moonlight Shadow as well from Q. I think they have to be a bit more active. We talk about the spikes for Among Us. They are playing around that blink timing on Cuckoo perfectly, and they are keeping MG.Trust in check. It's still good farm coming out for Jackie, but it's not the elevated farm we're used to seeing from him. He's still getting some space out. You do want MG.Trust to kind of understand their position. They do smoke up at... It does feel like that was under vision, or on the edge of it.
Well, this is their power spike. They've got to... Oh, Cuckoo, a great stun. Catching 2 of them straight off the bat. The tombstone's down. The gust is there. Masaros, so darn low, is trying to tricks away. He does blink, but the zombies, they're still following. Now the turnaround Fearless with the Rod of Atos, trying to protect the Ricky, but Cuckoo once again catching him out. Onto Fearless. They'll get the gust. An arrow there to help. Mortimer's Kisses as well, but Fearless is already down. And the side of Among Us, they're still going. In Your Dream does catch out Q on the Mirana. Another 3-for-0 trade for Among Us.
Radiant's bottom tower
And they might
is
just go
under
for the
attack.
Roshan play.
Dire's
In fact, they
middle
are.
tower is under attack.
With the Corrosive Haze and the Drow Ranger, it is a very easy Roshan to take.
All right, it's going to be a quick one. We've seen Drow, Slardars really just melt the Roche. It's going to be a nice first pickup for Among Us. MG.Trust, again, that smoke, it was just right on the edge of vision. Among Us was just ready for that jump in. And perfect counter initiation coming out. They're going to clear a mid-tier one as well. So they've evened out map control a bit. They're in a really good spot. They've got 2k lead on their side. MG.Trust, it looks like they're trying to default back to this Jackie playstyle. He's just saving up farm, given a lot of space in the map. They are starting to sack Fearless and Masaros for this farm, though, as we tend to see them do. But we'll see if the investment in Jackie pays off. It's his PL. It's a comfort cure of his. He is rushing the Manta style for himself. Maybe once you have that up with the option to purge off that Drow Silence, you're in a better spot. You do worry about allowing IYD to just farm like this. Like, he is actually rushing the Ag. He is working on a way to just constantly clear out those PL illusions and just absolutely wreck face. So I think Jackie's got to be ready for that eventuality here from IYD.
Certainly so. It's very rare to see the Drow Ags coming out, but, well, it is one way to deal with the PL, and he's even going for that old school build-up, the Aghanim Scepter into the Maelstrom. So just being able to proc the lightning off the split shot from the Ags, it is quite powerful, especially when you're just trying to clear illusions. Speaking of clearing things, Masaros top lane needs to be slightly careful, but he is going to TP out at the right time. They even ping him out on the tree line, but it is too late. But he'll have a look around, pops the dust, but it is a bit too late to catch out this Ricky. So instead, perhaps Among Us, they might start setting up for that top tier 2, or maybe they'll go for a fight. In that mid lane, they see Jackie again.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Jackie does have a DD room, but this is still dangerous. Cuckoo goes for the stun onto Jackie with Arbed coming in. They hold him down with the Aether Remnant, but Jackie is going to be able to get out of there with the Doppelganger back onto Cuckoo. Dark Rift is coming in. They're coming to try and go after that Slardar, and they will be able to take him. Onto March. He went back in on the Undying. That is going to cost March. Jackie with a double. MG.Trust now, feeling confident, are going to move their way back into that mid lane. And with the siege creep, they might be able to apply some pressure.
Yeah, it's going to be an important amount of pressure to apply while they have this uptime. Unfortunate move in from Among Us. MG.Trust was right behind. They got the perfect kisses. It was uncontested. And without the egg flying through, you do lack a bit of that team fight. You didn't have Abed throwing his body up front as well to be disruptive. So it looks like Among Us may have miscommunicated a bit there, but MG.Trust makes the most of it. They do find the bot tier 2. They get the Manta style up on Jackie, and the network lead does swing back their way. So they still are working this map quite well. They've managed to play catch-up on all of their cores, and they're keeping Among Us in check. It's a very even game so far. Map control dead even. They are both hitting their spikes at a good time. It's all down to execution. Cypher's got to be able to get this next egg off in a bigger team fight if Among Us wants to widen this lead back their way.
Certainly so. You see Arbed, he's working towards that Aghanim Scepter now on the Void Spirit, and that's going to be very important for him this game. It won't be so effective on Jackie, but you do at least have 2 silences now for Jackie. After the Manta, you will have another form to use with that Void Spirit. Moonlight Shadow, going to be popped here from Motivate, and they do spot out Arbed with the smoke screen out, but Arbed, he has the 4 staff up, so he can get away from this Riki by Masteros. Instead, though, they're pushing out the bot tier 3 tower. Fearless just says, screw it, you want to push our top tier 2? No problem. We'll apply pressure at the bot lane. Arrow gonna spot out Arbed, but does not connect. Arbed yules out onto Fearless with the Aether Remnant, and now Cuckoo, a big stun, but here comes Masteros. He wants to hold them down with the smoke screen. The taxi, he's got the car started, and he does get them out as Cuckoo will be the one to die. And Motivate.Trust, they just drive home.
And that's something you should always be weary of if you're just trying to gank an Underlord. We've seen that issue pop out for many teams. The Uber home is sometimes very timely and does deserve 5 stars. Fearless does manage to get the most out of it. They get a nice kill for themselves as well. And you kind of saw the same issue last time as well when Among Us just jumps in. If they don't manage to get out their burst damage immediately, heroes like Jackie kind of just run away. The Underlord is definitely in a very good spot now with how tanky he is, and with a Ghost Scepter available. So you've got to pick your targets well here if you are Among Us, but even with that done, they are smoked up. They do kind of reveal it. Lots of pings coming out to their position right now.
Yeah, I mean, Arbed, he went for the Resonant Pulse, which made it very obvious. They are not going to be able to capitalize off this smoke at all. Apart from that regen rune they found up at that top rune spot, but that's it. I guess Arbed will hold on to that for a bit. In the meantime, John, in your dream, he's got the Ags up now, working towards the Mjolnir. It's still not going to be enough to deal with Jackie yet. But it is a good start, and it is also going to help him escalate his farming capability. However, Motivate, they're posturing in that mid lane. They're almost inviting Among Us to come for a fight, but they are not. Both will walk away. They'll just split up and go for a bit more farm. Though I feel like the farming game does tend to suit this Dire side more.
Yeah, I mean, they've got basically 2 pause once in their team, right? With the offlane Riki, we've seen Masteros do this with his Lifestealer. Whereas the game drags on, of course he's going to find farm. Of course he's going to scale. It's just the nature of the heroes he plays in that offlane. Riki does have some pretty good spikes left. We're seeing Masteros rush the BKB into the Nullifier. Once you have that combination, of course, the Riki can lock you in. That tricks of the trade if you're not careful. So there's a little bit of pressure on Among Us to play fast. And we always talk about how Undying kind of tapers off as the game goes on. March is still keeping his presence up. He is going for the Holy Lock, we tend to see, to boost that soul rip healing. But you really don't want to chance it. You've got good right click coming out from your Mirana, good right click from your Snap with a Shredder as well. So you are basically almost playing 4v5 if you kind of consider that the Undying's presence is really minimized. And that does mean Among Us will want to really start hunting a little bit more. They've just not been able to control the map since losing their bot tier 2 and trading for that top tier 2. They haven't been able to intercept the movement from MG.Trust, and that is a bit of an issue. I'd say it's not a very worrying issue. You're still waiting for the Ags here in Abed, and that is giving some time here for that build-up.
Well, he does have it now, but at the same time, Jackie got an Aghanim Scepter on himself, so he's got the constant Phantom Rush available to him, and that could be a pretty big problem. I mean, now he's just got no cooldown on it. In terms of that drown, in terms of closing the gap here for Jackie, he's got a way to do it. Of course, the damage amplification from that rush is also going to be quite painful for Among Us. It's a lot of bonus agi he does get. Still, both top and bot lane are being pressured by either side. Neither side really interested in going for a fight yet. They are still just farming up, but a Moonlight Shadow is going to be popped. MG.Trust, I'm not sure what they're going to get done here, but it looks like they want to try and bait Zephyr forward. Q, he'd love a Yules, and he does get one off. Arrow is going to connect as well with the Mortimer's Kisses. Do they have the damage? Zephyr, no, he's not going to die yet. Fearless, he jumps in for the egg. He will not have enough to take it out. He just drives himself home, but he left his teammates behind. Q is in trouble. He does get Aether Remnanted with Cuckoo out with the stun. They do take down the Mirana and Boombell. He will just leave himself. A nice attempt. It definitely wasn't enough. In the end, though, they do pressure Among Us to return back down to the bot lane and stop applying that pressure up at top lane, but they have to give up a support Mirana kill just for that.
It's not the biggest loss for MG.Trust. I think the movement off the map is the bigger win. You're still going to be happy with forcing that rotation back. You've given Masaros a space play, although.
Mid lane, Fearless. That was questionable Firestorm. He'll go for the TP, but the Yules is going to cancel it. Now Boombell needs to help him out. A nice cookie into the Pit of Malice. Jackie, he's going to rush in for the fight, but it's him against the world right now. He needs some help. Nobody's coming in though. Masaros right behind him, but Jackie is just mad fighting everyone. Can he really do it? I don't think he can. Jackie is going to go down. Oh, that is very overly aggressive from Fearless and Jackie. And now Abed, he wants to clean up. He gets a Yules up on Boombell, but he won't have the mana to keep going. Still a massive kill now, and they're on to Masaros. Cuckoo doesn't have detection. Won't be able to catch out the Riki. And that's where the Drow Ags really came in handy, John. You can't just man fight like that as the PL anymore. Not against this Drow Ags. The wave clear is way too high.
Definitely is. I'm not sure what MG.Trust is up to. That was just not a good movement by any means. They left Jackie in the dirt. They didn't really manage to back him up. You didn't have your supports there. And you only had Boombell really nearby, and he didn't have Kisses in that fight. So it was just really awkward for Jackie to come in. I think he just accepted the Fearless loss and kind of cleared out. They do lose the Aegis because of that. So second Roche, Aegis, Cheese going to Abed this time. And all that sustain on Among Us. The sustain is becoming a massive issue. Right, the Sunray, if Zephyr just gets to stand back, channel off, keeps IYD alive, you've got the Soul Rip being amplified by the Holy Locket. There is no healing mitigation here from MG.Trust, so that's always going to be a factor until we see maybe a Skadi up in one of these heroes or even a Shiva's Guard, but it feels like it's a bit too far off, and MG.Trust, they've lost the lead. They have Moonlight shadowed up, but they have no clue where Among Us is.
That they do not. I mean, in the meantime, I mean, in your dream now, he's very close to that Mjolnir. Just needs the Hyperstone, and he's going to go straight into a Butterfly after that. And, well, all those items, not only do they counter out the PL, but they counter out the Riki as well. It's a very tough time for Motivate if they allow in your dream to get to that point. So I don't believe Jackie is thinking to himself, I need to get an IVE, or rather an MKB right now. He's working towards the IVE Skadi, but he's in the mid lane again. Ahmed gonna chase him down, does catch out the right one, but nobody gonna capitalize yet. Cuckoo, he's waiting for the right moment. Into Jackie, onto Ahmed. No, he'll go back after Ahmed as he does rush away. Masteros meanwhile trying to kill March, but he's gonna die to In Your Dream. Now the Mortimer's kisses are out, but Ahmed, he eats the cheese just in the nick of time, and the Dark Rift will get Motivate out. Everyone but Boombell. He's trying to run, but Cuckoo is going to chase him down. Pings out. Cuckoo, does he guess with the stun? No. It's too late. But they got Masaros, and well, Masaros on that Ricky John, he just chased March for so long. And that In Your Dream Drow just hit him all the way down. Again, very aggressive plays here from Motivate, but they are not panning out. In fact, Cuckoo jumping back onto Fearless. He wanted a Firestorm, but it's going to cost him his life. Oh, Fearless, he has not had a good game at all.
No, and we're used to seeing Fearless on something that is a bit more active, so I think that's where this issue's coming out from. You know, Fearless tends to want to be in front, tends to want to make plays. There's not much plays you can really make on a hero like Underlord, so it's put them in a very awkward spot where they don't have a clear initiation plan. And Among Us, with those wins, they just get to poke this high ground with a Drow. It's just so easy.
It is. I mean, Fearless, without a buyback, they can't really hope of defending this. Of course, In Your Dream has a Grove, though, by the way, in case anyone was wondering. Classic stuff for the Drow Ranger player. Illusions just getting cleared out. They can't even take down the Tombstone. Great placement there from March. That's your tier 3 tower gone. They'll leave the Tombstone, but it will expire just before they can take it out. Very unfortunate, and we are going to have a quick pause to come out now. Arbed looks like he's had a disconnection. We are having some FPS issues. And John, I suppose this is a good time to talk about what I was telling you earlier while we were watching the draft, but I was having a chat to March in his own stream, just having a quick chat pre-game. He was talking about Motivate.Trust, and he was saying that they are a very scary team. You have to respect them. Got to be very careful about this side, but he did seem very confident in his team to be able to pull off this victory today. And I've got to say, so far in this game one, I can see why March has been so confident.
Yeah, they are making this first game work out really well. You know, you and I were chatting about the draft a bit before we went live. We were questioning the Drow into Ricky. We thought that we expected Masaros to be able to isolate the Drow a little bit better. It hasn't happened yet. Zephyr's egg has only come out a couple of times, and, you know, he has been dying, but that does buy out the space. Like, when you drop that egg, you can see MG.Trust kind of tunnel vision in just to rip in through that egg, and it's been costing them. They need to get their focus out elsewhere, but their positioning is just so awkward. Their cores are melee, so it's really down to the supports, but their supports are also the ones with the most control outside of the pit from the Underlord. So it's a really awkward spot. And I think this all boils down to the Underlord mid for Fearless, right? Like, he loves playing his own Void Spirits. He loves playing the Ember. He loves being active on the map. He sets up for his team. He enables Jackie. But the Underlord is just not that kind of hero. It drops the pit. It drops Firestorm. It Ubers home. Maybe it tosses out a Rod of Atos as well in that pit, but that's it. It's not mobile, it's not flashy, and it's hard to plan your team fight around that. That is their best hold, and it's been tricky for MG.Trust to kind of position themselves around that hero, so they've got to find a way to make it work for Fearless, because he's just been picked off constantly.
With that, to move on, to have the unpause here. Our post going to be taken. Still an aggressive posture here from MG.Trust. Jackie gonna rush in onto In Your Dream. They want that Drow dead ASAP, but he is gonna throw the guts down. Jackie's still just trying to fight this one out. Meanwhile, March dropping low, but they have got on Jackie. They take him out with Zephyr on the Phoenix. Fearless, he does Dark Rift everyone else out, but Masaros, who got left behind. Oh, it's another bad team fight here for Motivate. Definitely not very good news here for the Dire, but Among Us, they are looking fantastic.
I mean, it's just so strange. They expect Jackie to handle the Drow. Like, he's the one at the back. He's the one trying to rip through. That needs to be Masteros. But even then, I don't think your Ricky's ready to handle the Drow, right? Like, the timing of that defusal was nice. The follow-up has been flat. Like, the BKB for Masteros down to 8 seconds. He hasn't really achieved too much with his first 2 charge uses. And with that lead now, they're just melting these outer objectives.
Oh, Fearless again. Mid lane, he's been caught out. They use him up. They might just have the control. Cuckoo, he'll have his stun ready. They'll get the Aether Remnant. Cookie will be there. Fearless gets the Pit of Malice and the Force Stuff, but Arbit, he's not done. He jumps back in now. Cuckoo with the Bash of the Deeps. Still not going to be enough. The Ghost Scepter will save Fearless.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
They will back off now Among Us, but they are starting to really taste victory in this game number 1. Get a lot of patience from this Radiant side. You look at In Your Dream on that Drow, Johnny, he has the butterfly up. This is that point where I think In Your Dream he might just be unkillable here for Jackie. So they don't have an MKB or a Divine yet. It's tough to even imagine In Your Dream dying.
No, unless they keep him in the pit forever and get the perfect use of kisses along with the perfect set of Firestorm and Starfall, I don't see our Drow falling. It's just so difficult. The damage is just not there. They have no burst to contend with. They have a lot of sustain to still go through. We're just seeing Zephyr. It's not about the egg anymore. It's all about the Sunray he's pumping out, and they focus so much on that Drow that there's no one there to stop the Phoenix from healing. So a lot of issues still for MG.Trust. Among Us, they've gotten the 9k lead on their side. They've cleared out the entire map now, although they catch Q.
They have towards that top lane, but Arbit, he's going to just astral step his way out of there. It's like Among Us might be able to reinitiate down to this bot lane. Just defending for now, and Motivate, they are not going to be willing to fight. Of course, they've had enough of these bad team fights. They're going to have to wait for the right moment. Oh, Fearless. Oh, he's going for that DD. Remember, Cuckoo was using it as bait. Takes it off him. He's going to go for the Dark Rift play, and looks like he might just make it out, and does. That's your Dark Rift down for another minute and a half. In the meantime, Shiver's Guard picked up by Arbet, and Butterfly is there from Jackie. And the chase is on for Masteros now. Cuckoo does have a gem up, gets the Corrosive Haze. That is a huge bash of the deeps as well. Just deleting Masteros.
Oh man, it's, you don't have any durability in this Ricky right now. Like, he's got BKB Defusal, has nothing to buff up his armor. Corrosive Haze is just doing so much work, and you're starting to melt. Like, this butterfly on Jackie is nice. It might boost his durability. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I still feel like you've got a lot more issues with handling IYD when it comes down to that core versus core, and you got to watch out for that.
Arbet, top lane, he's on the chase for Q. Have another Astral Step with the Dust Out. Does catch him in the Yules, and with the Aether Remnant, gives him a bit of trash talk on the way out. Very nice play there from Arbet once again, and he's so dangerous on these kind of heroes. Meanwhile, Jackie's going for a fight onto In Your Dream, but that butterfly in Your Dream means Jackie can't even hit him. He's trying to run, but they have the clear out from their Drow Ranger. This Aghanim Scepter is just paying off so much for In Your Dream this game.
Oh, it really is. It's just causing all sorts of havoc for Jackie, and he's farming well considering the situation. He's number 2 in net worth, but it's really not, it's not doing anything. Like, now he's going to need that MKB we've been talking about. We haven't seen Masteros work his way up onto Ricky. He's not been able to isolate out Jackie's Drow, our Drow here by IYD. So I'm not sure what the answer is anymore. Perhaps they play the high ground. They've got good AoE control with a Pit Kisses. That just doesn't feel like it's enough. Look at IYD. Look at that range.
That's huge. They just can't defend. I mean, Fearless, he drops the Pit of Malice and he catches out Arbit. Mortimer's Kiss is out with the smoke screen, but the Four Staffs are going to mean Arbit gets himself out of there, and he's feeling confident, Arbit. Tombstone will be dropped a bit preemptively here from March as they do start getting onto the racks, and now Cuckoo jumping straight in, does catch out Q. The cookie is there, but Q is going to die to March on the Undying. Into Masaros, he's very low. They dive in, but Masaros BKB's up and back into Arbit. He's been rooted in place, but he will dissimulate. Pit of Malice there, but another good 4-staff out. And In Your Dream kills off Boombill with the split shot. Another kill for our Drow, a 15k net worth lead. And 2 racks is down for Motivate.Trust. I mean, at this point, Jackie, he's just going to go for a Divine, and it looks like that is going to be the game plan.
Oh man, it's just going to take way too long, and you can't solve this issue with IYD. How do you rip it into him with everyone else standing behind him?
That's a really good question, John. Kind of what I was going to ask you. Cuckoo, going to go in. They force out the buyback. Masaros, he'll go in with the tricks of the trade. Jackie, going to follow up. Sunray is going to be there to make sure Cuckoo does stay healthy. And apologies, by the way, I said 2 racks is down, but they are only 1 racks down. So it's not that big of a deal yet for Motivate, but the net worth lead is going to be a huge problem. And they are going to go after that next Roshan.
Ooh,
And this
God,
one
it just melts.
has the Aghanim's Blessing as well, John. They will give it over to Cuckoo. So he gets his puddles now. That is going to mean Cuckoo is that much more sustainable in these team fights.
Yeah, he's just going to be able to run around. The durability has always been an issue for MG.Trust. That's even worse now if they want to set their eyes for Cuckoo. Should shift out of queuing out this Ag still, but Cuckoo still got it lined up. We'll see what he does opt for next. They even have another Shivas as well out on Zephyr. So you've got all the form in the world, and they see Q.
They do. Q. He's going to go Scepter up, but Arbit should have enough to chase him down. Does get the Yule Scepter off. Q has no more lead charges, so he is just definitely gone. Another nice play there from Among Us. Arbit already on to the next. He goes on the other side of the map, having a look to see if he can find anyone else. This Void Spirit just so mobile right now. Even has the spider legs up. That's going to make it just that much harder to control Arbit. Jackie, all he can do is just send illusions in. Hope for the best. That's really it.
Has been killed.
Yeah, it's not smooth going here for MG.Trust. Like you mentioned, Abed, he's at 7-0-17 on that Void Spirit. He's just been on a massive run. No punishment coming out from that laning phase. We really expected plays would maybe pit into Arrow, but because of the trial lane, they just never got that early movement out, and it all stems from that laning phase. From the trial lane they forced up top, to the matchup, to the hero they got out for Fearless, and it's all biting them in the bum right now as their bot tier 3 is going to be chipped away.
Once again, nice tombstone placement there. But Snapfire will jump in. Still Cuckoo is also going to jump in straight onto Boombill. Does take him out. The tombstone survives through all of that. Arrow is going to be out onto Arbit, but they don't have the follow-up for him. He's going to be fine to 4-staff out, and that bottom racks, it's going to melt so darn quick as Arbit. He's jumped back in now. Onto that Mirana. Split shot out Q with the Ghost Scepter. Not going to survive. Sefa had the damage onto Fearless now. He's also just trying to get out. He cannot though. Arbit, he's out of control. He's jumping
Jackie
back in, but here
Divine.
comes Jackie. Jackie needs to try and get something out of this. He's going to try with that Divine Rapier onto Arbit, but he is just going to be able to walk away.
Dire's middle barracks.
And that is 1 range racks away from Megas now. But Pit of Malice is going to be dropped. They've got Arbit in there. He's rooted in place, so Jackie will rush him. But the X drop, the Sunray's down. They get the PL. Divine on the deck, and they call it. GG has been called. Among Us, they do manage to take game number 1 in this best of 3 upper bracket final. With a 43k net worth lead at the end, John. A very dominant performance here from Among Us.
Yeah, they just They played perfectly. We thought the Drow into Ricky was a bit confident. Looks like it wasn't. Yeah, IYD just has a fantastic game. Abed goes 9-0-20 at the end. How ridiculous is that? His Void Spirit just completely uncontested. I think MG.Trust had some issues in their draft. I'd say give Fearless something he can dance with. The Underlord is great, it's stable, but they had nothing to play around. Like, you couldn't really expect Masaros to be your setup as well. So something has to change with that draft, but Among Us, they look fantastic in that game one.
Well, with that, of course, John, for the viewers out there, don't forget to cast your Monster MVP vote. It is bts.gg/Monster MVP. Very important to get your votes in, and you can do it right now if you wish, or you can wait till the series does end. Speaking of series, though, John, there is potentially still 2 games to go, so we're going to go to a short break, and after that break, we are going to go back to the panel to discuss what happened in this game number 1.